Alright, let's go over the wish list in detail. The wish list is an incredibly important feature in AFK Journey as it dictates the heroes you get from the various summoning mechanics. For example, if you summon here and have this wish list full, you cannot summon any other heroes than the ones on your wish list. So, which are the best choices? Well, if we look at Analytica's tier list, which I go into more detail in a separate tier list video, we can get a quick idea of the best options just based on the heroes ranked highly on here. However, it gets a little more complicated than that. Several of these heroes have overlapping roles and team compositions, and focusing on pulling them instead of some of the others may hinder your ability to progress through the campaign quickly. The first most obvious gap here would be the lack of tanks. Currently, tanks don't have a ton of use in the endgame meta, despite being quite helpful while pushing early campaign. The two heroes that work as tanks on this list are Thoran and Temisia. In early game, Thoran usually goes down pretty quickly and leaves your team exposed while he's reviving. He may need to be accompanied by a second tank. Temisia could fill that role as she does a good job running around distracting opponents, especially on maps with obstacles, but this is also often inconsistent. Options here could be dropping Cessia for one Igor pull, Shakir for one Brutus pull, or Seth for one Antandra pull. I would probably lean towards aiming for Brutus, since you need those A-tier Mauler slots for other heroes, and Brutus has a great invincibility time. Also, Igor works similarly to Temisia as a distraction, so can also be inconsistent, while you also want a good Cessia early on. This original list can also leave you with limited options on support, especially if you're not having luck pulling Smokey. Options here would be to pull for a single Rowan and then switch back to whichever hero you choose. Especially if you're running Cessia, he is a great support to help her very important ultimate happen faster. Also, you can pull for Hewen over Bryon just one copy or in general, as she is a very strong healer, and Bryon is more or less another DPS option. Other options on the table would be Cassidy instead of Vala. Cassidy can be used as a hero buffer, while Vala plays a similar role to Cessia as a generalist. She does have a little bit more play in Arena though. You will definitely want to get at least one copy of Kruger, as he is the best enemy defense debuffer at the moment. And if you plan on going for a very strong Wilder stall PvP team later on, you'll want to use Carolina, Parisa, or Viperion as the DPS hero. For Carolina, you can swap her in for Cessia once you've unlocked her signature. In the meantime, you'll want Parisa, who works better with an Iron with his signature to group enemies, or a Viperion if you don't have the Iron. If you do go with Viperion, you can also sub Arden in for Leica to be used in PvP stall. Another thing to note is even when you do banner pulls, the 8 A-tier heroes you assign to your wish list carry over as the available summons there too. But guess what? We aren't done yet. There is a second wish list for the elite summons. This has 5 hero slots. You'll want to double up on the best ones here, taking the top 5 S-tier heroes. Please do not use these slots for A-tier heroes. And we would get a wish list that looks like this. However, we will likely want to sub Iron in for Vala, as much of the late game PvP revolves around him. Then maybe Shakir can be replaced with Temisia. It's your call. She's maybe just slightly less useful. Taking all this into account, I think my final advised wish list would look like this. But again, there are definitely options and a variety of factors involved in making a final choice. Anyways, thanks for watching. I hope this helps, and I'll see you in game.